note that I have reviewed the plea agreement. Although it appears to be a substantial reduction in number of charges, the reality of the law is a number of the charges would have been combined for sentencing anyway. Would you agree, counsel?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
That being said, Mr. Harrison, do you understand the plea agreement?
Yes, I do, sir.
Do you understand that you are in fact admitting to me that you have committed the crimes of pandering, sexually oriented matter involving a minor, that's a felony of the 2nd degree, possessing criminal tools, that's a felony of the 5th degree, and attempted gross sexual imposition, a felony of the 4th degree?
Yes.
Do you understand that any any defenses you might have to those charges, you are giving up those defenses? You cannot tell me later that you didn't do it or it was a misunderstanding. You're telling me you did in fact commit those crimes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anybody threatened you or offered you anything or promised you anything to convince you to plead guilty other than what is stated in the plea agreement?
No, Your Honor.
You have talked to Mr. Bryce regarding this agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you listening to his advice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you need more time to talk to him?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with his representation of you?
Yes, Your Honor.
In regards to the charges to which you are entering guilty pleas, I'm going to review the potential penalties with you. As to count 3, the pandering, sexually oriented matter involving a minor as a felony of the 2nd degree, the potential penalty could be a sentence to prison of 2 years up to 8 years. Is there a mandatory prison sentence or presumption? The significance of that discussion, I do not have to send you to prison. However, the law says there is a presumption that there will be a prison sentence. In addition to the potential prison sentence, there is a fine of up to $15,000. You will be classified as a tier or level 2 sexual offender. You will register as a sexual offender. There are restrictions upon where you may live. In general, you may not live within 1,000 feet of a school or child care facility. You do have to register as a sexual offender in any county that you reside or in which you are employed for any length of time or which you go to school for any length of time. There is also a public disclosure in terms that your name will be posted and your residence will be posted on a law enforcement website as a sexual offender. Your duty to register for this particular level would be for a period of 25 years, and you have to renew or verify your information every 6 months. As to the possessing criminal tools charge, as a felony of the 5th degree, the potential punishment could be a prison sentence of up to 12 months, a fine of up to $2,500. As to the attempted gross sexual imposition, the potential prison sentence could be 6 to 18 months, a fine of up to $5,000. That would also be considered a level 2 or tier 2 sexual offender registration duty, the same 25 years and 6 months. In other words, you have to register for 25 years, verify it every 6 months. Now, if you are sentenced to prison, there is, in regards to the pandering charge and the attempted gross sexual imposition charge, a mandatory duty to be included in post-release control. What that means is after you're released from prison for a period of 5 years, you will report to a probation officer and have restrictions upon your behavior. If you were to violate any of the restrictions, you can be returned to prison for each violation. The amount of time you can be returned could not be more than 1/2 of your original sentence. If you were to commit a new felony while under post-release control, you can be sentenced for that new felony, and you can be returned for violation of post-release control, and the 2 times the 2 sentences would be added to one another. As to the possessing criminal tools, there is a 3-year post-release control that's at the discretion of the prison authorities. The same restrictions would apply in terms of recording and having restrictions upon your behavior, the same ramifications if there were a violation. The post-release control periods of time would run concurrently. They would not be added to one another. So it could be 2 5s and a 3, but it would be for 5 years upon your release from prison. Do you understand those potentials?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you are pleading guilty, you give up a number of rights. When you review those rights with you, so I'm satisfied you understand what you are giving up. You are entitled to a trial. The trial could be to a jury of 12 people, although earlier you did sign a waiver of a jury trial, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But as an alternative to a jury trial, you could try your case on all of the charges against you to the court, to a judge. You do understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the right to a trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
If there were a trial, you are not required to prove that you are innocent. It would be the duty of the prosecutor to prove each and every charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt, and each part or element of the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand what I mean when I say beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you also understand that because you're pleading guilty, you have relieved the prosecutor of having to prove anything?
Yes, Your Honor.
If there were a trial, witnesses would have to testify against you. You have the right of confrontation, which means that Mr. Bryce, as your attorney, would question those witnesses and cross-examine them. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand you're giving up that right by pleading guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
If there were a trial, you could have witnesses testify on your behalf. If those witnesses would not appear voluntarily, they could be subpoenaed and required to testify. Do you understand you have that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand you're giving up that right by
Yes,
pleading
Your Honor.
guilty? If there were a trial, you could testify, or you could choose to not testify, and if you made that choice, the fact that you did not testify could not be used against you at trial. Do you understand you're not going to choose to testify or not because you are choosing to plead guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about any of your rights?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about any procedures in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bryce, are you satisfied that Mr. Harrison is knowingly and voluntarily entering pleas of guilty to pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor, a felony of the 2nd degree, possessing criminal tools, a felony of the 5th degree, and attempted gross sexual imposition, a felony of the 4th degree?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you satisfied that he understands the ramifications of those guilty pleas?
Yes.
So, Mr. Harrison, do you in fact plead guilty to pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor, a felony of the 2nd degree?
Yes, Your Honor.
In regards to that, are you admitting to me that on or about October 10, 2012, with knowledge of the character of the material or performance involved, you did create, record, photograph, film, develop, reproduce, or publish material that shows a minor participating or engaging in sexual activity, masturbation, or bestiality? Are you admitting you did that?
Yes, Your Honor.
In regards to the possessing criminal tools, are you admitting to me that on or about October 10, 2012, you did possess or have under your control a device, instrument, or article with the purpose to use it criminally and intended for use in the commission of a felony, specifically computers and electronic devices? Are you
Yes,
admitting you did that?
Yes, Your Honor.
In regards to the eighth count, are you admitting that you did attempt to have sexual contact with another, not your spouse, or that you caused another, not your spouse, to have sexual contact with you, and that one of the persons was under 13 years of age? Are you admitting you did that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then I do find you guilty as to all 3 charges. The pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor, a felony of the 2nd degree, possessing criminal tools, a felony of the 5th degree, and attempted gross sexual imposition, a felony of the 4th degree. I am assigning you to a pre-sentence investigation. You will be interviewed at the jail. You will have the opportunity to state your position on what occurred or did not occur. We will do a records check. Mr. Bryce, you have indicated that there are reports that you would be submitting as part of the pre-sentence investigation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and so that will become part of it. I will utilize that pre-sentence investigation and the report resulting from that to help me determine an appropriate sentence. And note that as part of the agreement, you are agreeing that your bond is to be revoked and you are to be taken into custody today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that that is what is going to occur?
Yes, Your Honor.
So then I will revoke your bond. I will order the removal of the GPS device. I'll stop charging you for it. Mr. Price, anything more?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Farlow?
Nothing else, Mr.
Officer, would you take him into custody, please, and remove him from the courtroom?
Yes.
Mr. Price, stay. Okay, I believe this has been provided you, but we will have sentencing hearing on September the 18th this year.
Yes.
Anything more, Mr. Price?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Farlow?
Nothing else, Mr.
Mr. Price, if you need to go see your client, you can go see him.
Thank you.